Michael Doyle is the skipper this evening. He is currently stood on the centre circle along with Dean Rance, who is the skipper for Dagenham and Redbridge, along with the referee Scott Simpson, and they go through the usual pre-match coin toss to decide who's going to get what end and who's going to take the kick-off. Notts look as though they're going to kick from left to right in front of us in this first half, and Dagenham and Redbridge will take the kick-off. Sam Deering is the man who's come forward to take the kick-off, and I remember down in East London at the start of December, he was very much the danger man, and a lot of the good stuff ran through him for the Daggers on that evening. A game that finished goalless, Dagenham and Redbridge 0, Notts County 0. You're listening to Match Night or Match Eve on BBC Radio Nottingham. It is a freezing cold evening, but fair play to the football club and the ground staff as well. They've managed to get this game on. There is a sprinkling of snow around the pitch, certainly around the halfway line and away to our right-hand side as well, down near the bottom right-hand corner at the Hayden Green family stand end. A bit of confusion at kick-off as Kyle Wootton looked to get a flyer, and so despite the referee's whistle, we are yet to officially kick off. We now can, without another blow on the whistle, and a long ball forwards will run out for a throw-in away to our left-hand side for Notts County. Mark Stallard is alongside me this evening. What sort of game are you expecting, Stal?
Yeah, looking forward to a good game. I certainly hope it is. It was a tight game down at their place. Notts played well first half. You know, that was at the beginning of December, wasn't it? We played at their place, so not too long ago. Ended 0-0, but Notts played really well in the first half. Had all the pressure, but just couldn't find that breakthrough, and Dagenham came back stronger in the second half, hitting the post with a free kick, as I remember, and so both teams ended up with a point apiece. But since then, Dagenham have just conceded goals, haven't they? So hopefully Notts can make them pay.
This could be an early opening here for Jimmy Knowles inside the Dagenham penalty area onto his right foot. He's just been crowded out a little bit by red shirts there. For a moment, he looked to have plenty of space as the ball was shifted in his direction, but as he wanted to cut back in on his right foot, that space was closed down quickly. You wonder if he'd been able to go on his left, whether or not he might have been able to get a shot away. But as it is, Notts have a throw-in deep in Dagenham territory away to our right-hand side. Neil Ardley barking instructions from down in his technical area below us to the right-hand side. Throw-in taken. Dutchman Enzio Baldwin is on the ball towards the right wing, cuts out onto that right-hand side, beats his man, will try to keep on going down that right wing, turns across into the penalty area, which is cleared away. Rawlinson will get to it first in front of one or two Macs that are up front for Dagenham and Redbridge this evening, McQueen and McCallum. Slocum is now the recipient of the ball back to him. So Slocum's in goal for the Magpies. Kelly Evans at right back. At left back, Jordan Barnett. Middle of defence is Alex Lacey and Connell Rawlinson. On the right-hand side, Baldwin. The left-hand side, Rodriguez. The middle of the park, Doyle and Reeves. And up top, Jimmy Knowles getting a start alongside Kyle Wootton. And that is a start that, for some Notts fans, has been a long time coming, Stal.
Yeah, it certainly is in the league. I think only his second start in the league for Jimmy Knowles, and already had a half a side to goal, didn't he, early on? I just wondered if he might have pulled the trigger, just test the keeper out on this tricky surface. Which wanted to get it onto his right foot, and the chance was snuffed out. But yeah, certainly looking forward to see how him and Kyle Wootton gel together up front, see if they can get a partnership going. On paper, it looks ideal, doesn't it? One sort of big man likes to play with his back to goal, but can accept the ball into feet and into his body in Kyle Wootton. Jimmy Knowles, who will look to stretch Dagenham in behind.
Knowles' only other league start, incidentally, way back in October, just as the season had started, here against Maidenhead, a game that Notts lost by 3-2. He scored that day, scored early on that day, actually. I think it was only about 3 minutes into the game. We're inside the third minute here, still goalless as things stand. But it's quite pretty, really, with the snow falling under the floodlights. So with Michael Doyle, the Notts skipper, as he turns it across the defence to Lacey. Dion Kelly-Evans is trying to get away down the right-hand side. Lacey glances in his direction, but instead they choose to try and move it down the left wing instead. It's with Ruben Rodriguez. Now Reeves across the halfway line, now to the right wing to Kelly-Evans. Just about keeps it in. Had to stretch to his left-hand side to do so. And it will now be a Notts throw-in after a ricochet. There's a smiley face that has been drawn in the sprinkling of snow in Neil Ardley's technical area. Time will tell as to whether or not those faces are still smiling come the end of this 90 minutes. Notts looking for a fourth straight victory. It would be a fourth straight clean sheet in the league as well. Said before the game that Notts have only conceded 2 goals in their last 9 games as Baldwin tried to fire it into the feet of Wootton on the edge of the penalty area. Now Dagenham and Redbridge will look to counter-attack down the left-hand side with Miles Weston, the number 11 on his back. He's trying to sprint away from Dion Kelly-Evans, who's with him stride for stride, forced him out to the near touchline. Weston will have a go at crossing the ball into the penalty area. It deflects up in the air and into the path of Matt Robinson as the ball again attempted to be crossed by Weston, blocked by Dion Kelly-Evans. Back at the feet of Weston once more. Was at Notts way back in 2007 to 2009, and he will win his side the first corner of the game.
Yeah, first time I've seen Dagenham come forward, and good defensive work from Dion Kelly-Evans on 3 occasions there, stopping the cross at source. Miles Weston looking to get the ball in 3 times. Eventually the third attempt flicked off Kelly-Evans and out for a corner. It'll be from Dagenham's attacking left-hand side, but yeah, good defensive work from Dion Kelly-Evans, and that goes things like that, small things, but that goes a long way to helping this defensive record. If you stop the ball at source, stop the delivery, it means you don't have to defend your 6-yard boxes often.
Notts conceded a couple times from set pieces at the weekend in the FA Trophy, much to the ire of Neil Ardley. What can they do here this evening as the ball comes in at the near post? Don't clear it at the first port of call, but Dion Kelly-Evans, once he does a little pirouette and figures out where the ball is, does clear it up towards the halfway line, and Jimmy Knowles leads the line and leads the charge. Luminous goalkeeping kit of Elliot Justin, who's kept 6 clean sheets, the former Luton man, so far this season. Belts it forwards. The ball is on the halfway line in the particularly snowy area of the pitch as Reeves turns it out to Baldwin, but possession conceded to Dagenham and Redbridge. Kelly-Evans and Weston clashing again. That might be a good little battle this evening as Reeves pokes it away from McCallum, albeit straight back to another Dagenham and Redbridge player. It's Luke Kroll. Spent quite a lot of his career in the West Country with the likes of Exeter and Plymouth. The Daggers on the ball on the right-hand side. Ball down that right wing. Across comes Lacey. Puts it into the empty Jimmy Cyril stand. And it'll be a throw for the visitors at around 30-35 yards into the Notts half. So they've got Elliot Justin in goal. 3-4-1-2 formation, or 3-4-3 if you want. Elliot Justin, as I say, in goal. Kenny Clark, Callum Reynolds and Luke Kroll defensively. Andrew Eletherill on the right-hand side. Miles Weston the left. Matt Robinson and Dean Rance, the skipper, in the middle of the park. Sam Deering, the number 7, who, as I say, was so tricky. I remember on that evening down at East London in the early part of December. And then up top, Darren McQueen and Paul McCallum, as Kyle Wootton concedes a free kick 15 yards inside his own half. Dagenham and Redbridge take it quickly, and they're forced all the way back to their goalkeeper, Elliot Justin. Long clearance forward from him. Rawlinson and Lacey clear, but what a brilliant ball forward from Lacey. Sees the ball come straight back at them and down that left-hand side again as Weston is going to have a go at Dion Kelly-Evans. Not a bad ball into the penalty area as well. It ran all the way through to the backside of that 18-yard box, and McQueen was waiting for it. He just really couldn't quite control it, but a lot of their stuff coming down the left-hand side. Notts right at the moment, Mark Stallard.
Yeah, Miles Weston seeing a lot of the ball early on. Good delivery that time. To say Dion Kelly-Evans unable to stop the cross. Again, it could have been dangerous, unable to be taken and brought under control at the far post and not able to clear. But good service down this left-hand side. You're right, it's going to be a good battle, that Dion Kelly-Evans up against Miles Weston.
Kelly-Evans is leaking around that right-hand side again as Weston stays forwards. Played 7 minutes, still 0-0. 6 o'clock kickoff. I don't think I've done a 6 o'clock kickoff before. You get the odd 20 past 5 and 5:30, but these are odd times. Ball forwards up towards Enzio Baldwin inside the centre circle. Back to Lacey and out to the left wing for Jordan Barnett, who's a new signing for Notts, released by Oldham. Played 17 times in the Football League so far this season, but that's a good ball from Doyle down the left wing. Jimmy Knowles will run after it. He's got a bit of space, edging his way into the penalty area. Cuts to the byline, flashes his cross into the 6-yard box. Well done, Justin. And the referee points for a goal kick. I'm not sure where I saw the ball cross the line, perhaps initially when Jimmy Knowles ran forward sprinting down to the byline. Maybe he didn't manage to keep it in before he cut his cross into the 6-yard box, but the keeper reacted well to it.
Yeah, it was good positive play by Notts. Patient with a build-up around the halfway line in the centre circle, but then Michael Doyle releasing Jimmy Knowles down that left-hand side, and positive, getting at the defender, just dragging it onto his left foot. Cross come shot. I think it's more of a cross. Just out to put his left leg out and clear the danger, and the Dagenham and Redbridge defender completed it with maybe a deflection off the Notts player which is why he's given a goal kick, the referee, but good positive play there from Jimmy Knowles.
Yeah, I was just watching the replays there. I wasn't 100% on whether he'd given a free kick or a goal kick. Maybe there was a hand involved from the ricochet that came off a Notts player, but anyway, play resumes. Enzio Baldwin is on the ball inside his own half, tried to slide it down the right wing for Kyle Wootton to sprint after. It's cut out, and it's a Notts throw-in instead. 9 minutes on the clock. Dagenham and Redbridge come into this game 17th in the National League. One win in their last 5 league games. They've drawn the last 2, though, against Chesterfield and at Wrexham, both of those finishing 2 apiece. In fact, they do concede goals. They have conceded a number of goals lately, at least 2 in each of the last 5, and in 7 of their last 8. Here's Sam Deering in the centre circle, just inside the Notts half. Out to McQueen on the right wing. He's got an overlap down there as well from Iletheru. Well read by Michael Doyle, who wins it back for Notts County. And the Magpies have it once more. That's a good ball through the lines to Enzio Baldwin. He sprints into the Dagenham and Redbridge half and slides it down the left-hand side for Ruben Rodriguez to chase after. First time cross into the penalty area, easily dealt with by the Dagenham defence, headed away, but only as far as Reeves, who's still near the edge of that penalty area. Another ball towards the back post. Jimmy Knowles, great save, but Wootton's there to poke in the rebound. Notts County have the lead inside 10 minutes. Jimmy Knowles involved again. Brilliant cross into the penalty area initially, and Kyle Wootton, right place, right time, into double figures for the season. It's Notts County 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 0.
Well, we spoke earlier on about the potency that Notts possess that front 4, and on that occasion it's taken 10 minutes for them to break the deadlock. Jimmy Knowles very nearly did, brought another decent save out of Elliot Justin, who will feel slightly aggrieved that the ricochet fell quite invitingly for Kyle Wootton from 6 yards out, just to stab it goalwards and into the relatively empty net after Justin had made the save. But a good ball in from that left-hand side. Again, Notts seem to be making most of their progress down the left-hand side. This time, Ruben Rodriguez delivering a good deep cross. Jimmy Knowles very nearly scored. Good save from the Dagenham keeper, but Kyle Wootton doing what all good goal scorers do, reacting first and putting Notts ahead.
Important opener as Dagenham and Redbridge look to fire back immediately through Matt Robinson. Rather speculative effort from the best part of 30 yards. Flew a long way high and wide. But a good start for Notts County. 11 minutes have been played. The Magpies are in the lead by 1-0. Changes the dynamic of a game as well, particularly when a team like Notts, who are so possession heavy, get an early goal like that against a team that may have come here with a game plan to sit as many men behind the ball as possible.
Well, absolutely, yeah. It changes everything, doesn't it? Now, from a Notts perspective, you want to keep doing exactly what they have been doing, you know, looking to keep the ball. We know they'll keep trying to pass the ball, but you've still got to go looking for the next goal and the next. And from a Dagenham perspective, what do? They just sit and try and, you know, take stock for 5 minutes, try and just get back in their shape. They've got plenty of time left in this game, so there's no need to chase anything or do anything too silly just yet.
No, they have been a fair bit more expansive than some teams that have come here, in fairness to them, particularly down the left-hand side in the first 10 minutes. Miles Weston has enjoyed a good little battle with Dion Kelly-Evans in the early stages of this game. But yeah, interesting to see how they adapt now. We know that Sam Deering is a player to keep your eye on. Paul McCallum as well has made a living up and down the leagues. This is his 14th different club. Lots of Portsmouth and Leyton Orient, Barnet on his CV as Conor Rawlinson finds Enzio Baldwin in a pocket of space inside the Dagenham half. He's running with it onto the right wing. He'll cut back onto his left foot, squares it across the 18-yard box to Reeves, who's going to hit one and drag it a couple of yards wide. Good play from Notts again, though, and nice to see Enzio Baldwin picking up those pockets of space in between the lines.
Yeah, really good football again, and he looks so simple and easy and effective, but it's incisive as well. Passing through the lines, passing to feet, passing accurately, and eventually from 20 yards, Jake Reeves doing the right thing, trying the shot, not trying to, you know, smack the cover off it, just looking to place it, but place it a couple of yards wide of Justin's right-hand post. But exactly what you see with a lot of the time with Neil Ardley's team, although not set up as a 4-4-2, very rarely when they're in possession are they an out-and-out 4-4-2. Enzio Baldwin, as you say, going off the line, off the touch line, getting the ball in that pocket of space inside the pitch. You know, you're relying on the fullbacks to provide the width as per usual, and it's very difficult for them to be picked up, and Enzio did exactly the right thing there. Got turned, got running at the Dagenham defence and was able to square it to his teammate.
It is a freezing cold evening here at Meadow Lane. Snow falling into the first 5 minutes of this game. It's stopped for the time being, but expected to pick back up again at some point between now and the end, as Wootton picks up the ball just inside his own half, turns it out onto the left-hand side for Barnett, who runs with the ball and now turns it forwards to the goal scorer, Wootton, once more. Now onto the left wing for Rodriguez, back to Reeves, centre of the Dagenham and Redbridge half, to Baldwin, who again's picked up a little bit of space, tried to squeeze between a couple of tackles there and has won a free kick, and a couple of the Dagenham and Redbridge players look a little aggrieved at that, and maybe they've got a shout to be as well. But a free kick in a dangerous position, this, for Notts, about 7 or 8 yards outside of the 18-yard box, and maybe only just to the right of centre. Maybe suits a left footer just about, but I think it's going to be Rodriguez in his right boot that will hit this and have a go at goal.
Yeah, it's about 28 yards out, I would say. 28, 29 yards, but certainly within shooting distance. And with a surface like you've got tonight, you know, it's not that firm, but it's you know, it's not exactly soft, certainly by any stretch of the imagination. Cold night, certainly worth testing the goalkeeper out, although he's already made a couple of reasonable saves, Justin, in the Dagenham and Redbridge goal.
Barnett standing over the ball as well, offering the left-footed option. That's who's going to hit it. Smacks it off the top of the wall, who do their job. Ricochets high in the air. Reeves brings it down, and his touch takes him out onto the right-hand side, where he plays a good ball to Baldwin down that right wing, not too far away from the corner flag. He could do with a little bit of support. He finds a nice pass into the edge of the penalty area where Jimmy Knowles is moving. Now Doyle looks to stab it up over the top. Reeves brings it down, finds Knowles once more, hits it goalwards. Save made by the goalkeeper once more. Notts have their first corner of the game.
Yeah, again, Notts probing. That's more incisive players. You like tight angle Jimmy Knowles, but you can see his eagerness to get a shot off that time. You know, I said he could have maybe done that in the first minute, but this time on his right foot, just finds himself half a yard of space, hits the target, forces Justin to touch it behind for a corner from Notts attacking right-hand side.
Really good start to the game, frenetic pace being played by both teams, though Notts have certainly had the best of it, and that's reflected by the scoreline inside the 16th minute. Notts lead by a goal to nil. Ball comes in at the near post. That was going to curl into the net, but it was an easy and relatively comfortable save in the end for Elliot Justin. I don't think that was the intention of Barnett to curl that in and try to score from there. I just think he probably put a bit too much bend on it.
Yeah, absolutely. But you say a good tempo. If ever was a night for a good tempo, tonight is it? It's far too cold to be stood around. So it is a cracking tempo to the game. Notts playing, you know, with some good passing football, dominating possession. But we have seen one or two moments, we mentioned mainly down the left-hand side for Dagenham and Redbridge, trying to get the ball out to Miles Weston, and he will, you know, he's capable of causing problems. So Notts have still got to be switched on.
Notts chasing the Dagenham and Redbridge players back up towards the halfway line. It's with Clark, who steers the possession out to the right wing. It's a Letheroux there on the far touchline, closed down by Baldwin, who switched flanks. Now to McQueen, forced back up that touchline. Barnett will have to be careful that he's not in his back too much. Baldwin now looking to make a tackle back there with a Letheroux, and he does do, wins it back for the Magpies. Here's Wootton, stood on the halfway line trying to shepherd it away from a couple of red shirts, and wins his side of throwing. I imagine Neil Ardley will be pretty satisfied with what he's seen so far.
Yeah, he certainly will. Yeah, it's been good possession football. You know, been patient when they've had to be. When they've found a bit of space, they've passed the ball forward with quality. You know, it's been accepted, held on to it. Then they move the ball and they're getting shots away as well. They've obviously got the goal, which is the ultimate reward. But you know, Justin's been tested on a couple of occasions. Other than that,
and yeah, as you said a few moments ago, made a couple of very good saves so far as well. Not known for being prolific in front of goal. Dagenham and Redbridge, third worst in that department as far as goals scored. They've only scored 18 so far in the league this season, as Slocum takes a loose touch and then flies into a challenge. He's given away a penalty. Now the referee's got a decision about what he wants to do as well, and he's sent the goalkeeper off, and Notts County don't have a goalkeeper on the bench. Neil Ardley has reacted furiously. He can't quite believe it. It's not a goal-scoring opportunity, I don't believe, because of the acute angle and because of the amount of players that were back there, plus the touch had taken the ball away. But the referee has sent Sam Slocum off. He's given away a penalty as well. I think there's an amount of sympathy for Slocum there, maybe from Paul McCallum, the man who's going to go and take the penalty, as he gives Slocum a pat on the head. This is the gamble that Notts County play every single week and have done for more than a year now. They don't tend to carry a goalkeeper on the bench because statistically it works in their favour. You're having a look at some replays here. of the decision of the tackle, Mark Stallard.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
Well, initial impressions were that it was a ridiculous red card, but I'm looking again at it and I'm wondering if he's just sent it because Sam Slocum's lunged and he's gone off the ground. It's not because it's a goal-scoring opportunity he's stopped. He's lunged off the ground and gone up, well, gone high. So if,
though he's falling back to the ground with his boot again by the time the contact comes.
I still think it's a harsh red card, but I can maybe understand why he's given it from that perspective, but even so, it's one of them. You've got to say, if that tackle was in the middle of the pot, would it be a red card for an outfield player? It could be. So
who's going to go in goal?
This is going to be interesting. Who is the backup keeper?
Doyle's got the gloves, but Rawlinson is talking to Slocum. Doyle has now dropped the gloves, not in an aggressive way. Just curious to see who's going to go in goal here. Ruben Rodriguez is, yeah, I think it's Ruben Rodriguez who's going to go in goal. He's taking his shirt off and he's going to be putting on an aqua green goalkeeping kit. I think he's got a pair of gloves over there as well. This is the scenario that Notts hoped that would never happen. Only 5 subs allowed in the National League. So it all starts from Conor Rawlinson on the left-hand side. He plays the pass back to Sam Slocum. The pass is fine, but then Slocum takes a loose touch out of his feet. Slocum then lunges, I think at the feet of Darren McQueen, and the referee has sent Sam Slocum off. It also means, you know, barring an appeal, that Slocum will miss, I believe, the next 3 games. So key in Notts County's brilliant defensive record is their number 1. Neil Ardley is coming to greet Slocum now on the near touchline. He puts his arm around Slocum and sends him down the tunnel, which is where he's got to go. And this game, which Notts very much looked like they had in hand, has been completely turned on its head.
Yeah, absolutely. Just shows you how the dynamics of a football match can change in an instant, and that's exactly what's happened. I look at that again, and
Michael Doyle's going,
you know,
goal.
It's certainly not. There's no way he's been sent off for denying a goal-scoring opportunity, because even, you know, he's by the byline. The ball's about 5 or 6 yards out with his heavy touch, but. Who is it that coming in? It's McQueen, isn't it, who nicks the ball off him. He's going away from goal towards the corner flag, so even with the goalkeeper out there, it's not a clear goal-scoring opportunity. But what I think the red card has been before, the refs deemed that to be dangerous play. He's sort of taken off and he's gone in one-footed. Like I say, the acid test is if that's in the middle of the pitch, is that a red card? Some refs may say yes, some may say no, but either way, it's irrespective, it's been given. And when we restart playing, you're right, it's Michael Doyle who will go in goal. It's Notts with a 1-goal advantage, but with 10 men and about to face a penalty with a standing goalkeeper.
Not the biggest goalkeeper in the world either, you would say. He's only about 5'8", Michael Doyle. He's got a short-sleeve goalkeeping kit on, and in all of his career, half tempted to say his age, but you know how old he is, I'm not sure he's played in goal. But his first duty is to face up to a penalty against Paul McCallum, who's already got 4 goals this season. We're going to have a pretty handy bit of stoppage time added on at the end of this first half as well, because the whole incident happened inside the 18th minute, and 22 minutes have just ticked over here. Notts are leading by a 1-0. Michael Doyle is saying that McCallum hasn't got the ball on the penalty spot. The referee says play on. He's blown his whistle, and McCallum against Michael Doyle here. Doyle, oh, he's hit the post. He comes straight back to McCallum, and then Doyle has saved it.
That should be a free kick to Notts. McCallum's penalties hit the post and come straight back to McCallum. The minute he touches it, he's played the ball twice. Infringement, should be a free kick. And the referee has spotted it. And somehow we are 1-0. We can take a breath. And Notts can try and get themselves reorganised. That is just...
Well, this is mental.
Well, that's an incredible sort of, well, 5 minutes that's very nearly took, hasn't it? But Paul McCallum stepped up right-footed, went to Michael Doyle's right-hand side, across himself, and smacked against the post and came back to the penalty taker. And so once he touches it again, nobody else has touched it in the meantime. That's an infringement.
This is going to be quite the evening at Meadow Lane now. Notts County down to 10 men. Sam Slocum sent off. They don't carry a goalkeeper on their bench, so Michael Doyle has gone in goal. And from the resulting penalty that Paul McCallum has now missed after smacking it against the post. Notts County lead by 1-0. That lead they got inside 10 minutes through Kyle Wootton. Now, I remember asking when Notts County stopped carrying a goalkeeper on the bench, what was the reason for it? And it was because they believe statistically that they were more likely to benefit from having an extra outfield player on their bench than a substitute goalkeeper, due to how seldom it is that a goalkeeper gets sent off. And also the statistics suggest that when a goalkeeper gets sent off, you're likely to go on and not win the match anyway. Well, all of those statistics go out of the window this evening, because Notts have now got to last and stand strong for the remainder of this game, and we've only played 24 minutes.
What they have got to do, and it's going to be very difficult, obviously, a man down, they've got to maintain trying to keep possession as well as they can. They can't just turn it into, you know, hoofing the ball away and just allowing wave after wave of Dagenham pressure. You've got to stay strong, have belief in yourself. We talk about having bravery in football, and it's not just flying into tackles. Now's the time for bravery, to look to pass to your teammate, to give them responsibility and trust them.
Whereas Dagenham and Redbridge very much with the wind in their sails as they look for an equaliser. Handball given against Matt Robinson on the edge of the Notts penalty area, so that'll be a free kick. And Notts are in go slow mode as they will look to, we'll say, manage this game for the remainder of it. We're just getting a quick look at the penalty again on a replay, and it's a well struck penalty. It would have beaten Michael Doyle over to his right hand side, but it cracks against the right hand upright. And as Mark Stallard very quickly noticed that the moment that the ball comes back and he touches it again without anybody else making contact with the ball, a free kick is given, because that is an infringement. It makes me think, Stal, it's happened to you.
No, it hasn't. No, it definitely hasn't. But no, it is one of them things. Again, he's played the ball twice without anyone else touching the ball. You can't do that. So, like I say, it's going to be interesting now. Like I say, the dynamics of this game. We've had 25 minutes, but of that we've probably only had about 21 or 22 minutes play, with a good 3 or 4 minutes at least for Sam Slocum sending off. So there's going to be plenty of injury time. So again, it's how Notts adapt. It looks like they're keeping two up top, aren't they? And Kyle Wootton and Jimmy Knowles. It's a long time to go. Obviously, one of them will take it in turns to come back and be that extra midfield man. But you'd need an outlet. You've got to have an outlet when you're playing with 10 men for so long.
It's going to be a heck of a shift for them now. Dagenham and Redbridge in possession onto the right wing. Alathru's over there, as he's Deering. They exchange passes into the feet of Robinson, who's pretty much camped on the edge of that Notts penalty area. Wootton makes a brief interception, but Rance is now approaching the edge of the penalty area. Looks to stab it through for the on-running McCallum, but Notts do enough to clear it away once more. But if this sort of pattern continues for the remainder of the game, it's going to be a very long night indeed for those Notts County defenders.
This is where they'll be delighted it's freezing temperatures and not 25 degrees Celsius. I'll tell you that for nothing. But yeah, it's going to be hard work, always is. But I say, you've got to fill spaces. You've got to allow Dagenham to have the ball, you know, in areas where they're not going to hurt you. And then when you do get the ball, like I say, you've got to have that belief to still play.
There's Weston on the left wing inside the Notts half for Dagenham and Redbridge. Back to Kroll, and in turn to Reynolds into the middle of the park for Rance. Tackle made by Rodriguez. Wootton is there now, giving it away once more to McQueen. Notts camped in their own half. Every player, barring the Dagenham and Redbridge goalkeeper, inside the Notts half as we speak, as Dion Kelly-Evans batters it clear back up towards the halfway line once more. Notts have it back with Jimmy Knowles on the right hand side, and he wins a Notts throw. And for Neil Ardley, there's a lot of organising and reorganising to do now, and these Notts players, I guess, have got to mentally let go of what has just happened, because they can't dwell on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Darren McMahon as well, from a Dagenham perspective, does he look at things and think, right, against 10 men, do we now change our formation? Do we change how we're going about things? I say there's questions for both managers, and I say time will tell how they deal with it.
Reeves nearly gets caught in possession on the edge of his own penalty area, but shifts it quickly to Rawlinson. Rawlinson down the right-hand side. It goes out for a throwing level with the halfway line. And Neil Ardley very vividly and very clearly on the edge of his technical area, telling everybody to just calm down a little bit, just settle down.
Yeah, that's it. That's what can happen. You see, you perceive yourself as being so disadvantaged that you start panicking, rushing clearances. When in actual fact, like I say, you've got to have that bravery to still play, to still be certain of your passes, to find your teammate. You know, essentially, when you're one man down, where's the area you lose in space? You still fill your defence. You still have your back four, your two lines of four. You've lost a man up front, so that's where you've got to make extra care with your pass going forward, but you've not got this gaping hole that you sometimes perceive it by having a man less.
What they do lose out of it is their kind of, to use a Super Bowl reference, their quarterback. They lose that out of the middle of the park in Michael Doyle, though they have a very capable deputy in Jake Reeves. Here come Knots, though, cutting in off the left-hand side. Rodriguez to Jimmy Knowles, whose header tries to control it. I think he realised if he tried to head it initially goalwards, he wouldn't be able to get the purchase on it. So he looked to control it with his head on the edge of the 6-yard box. And as he did so, it allowed the Dagenham and Redbridge defenders to come across, close him down. And as a result, the ball is out for a throw-in on the right-hand side, but Knots still creating opportunities with another excellent ball from Ruben Rodriguez.
Almost identical to the goal, wasn't it? The ball from that left-hand side with his right foot cutting inside and to the far post. I think with just too much on it, Jimmy Knowles backpedaling, could only head it up in the air for himself.
That's a good ball in towards Wootton. Save made, I think. Yes, it is. Excellent cross into the penalty area from Dion Kelly-Evans. Wootton diving for it, stretching out a leg, and again, Elliot Justin has to get there and push it behind. It's going to be a corner kick for Knots.
Yeah, good play by Knots. This is exactly what we're saying. You've still got to play your football. You've got to attack. You've got to take Dagenham back towards their own goal and not let them know and get set in that they're going to just attack and you know, almost like a training session, have a half-court press against you. Good ball in from Kelly-Evans and a little touch into the ground from Kyle Wootton, needed tipping around the post.
Here comes the corner kick, goes short out to the right-hand side and back again to Barnett, who attempts to cross the ball. He's going to try and keep hold of it, go down, want a free kick, won't get one, and instead it'll be a goal kick. What you do notice from corners and dead ball situations like that now is that Dagenham and Redbridge have got the luxury of being able to leave an extra man forwards because they have the man advantage. Long way to go. 30 minutes have been played. Knots lead by 1-0. If you're just joining us, they have lost the goalkeeper. Sam Slocum has been sent off. He gave away a penalty in the process. Knots don't carry a substitute goalkeeper on the bench. They're only allowed 5 substitutes at this level, so they don't carry a substitute goalkeeper because they statistically believe that it's in their favour not to, and instead to have an additional outfield player on that bench. So it's meant that the skipper, Michael Doyle, has gone in goal. Ruben Rodriguez was going to go in net for a moment, but it's Michael Doyle who has gone in goal for the Magpies, who continue to lead, as I say, by 1-0. But here's Weston. And now across into the penalty area. McQueen back to goal, holds it up, tries to get some space for a shot, saved by Michael Doyle. Doesn't palm it to one side, he grabs it gratefully into his midriff instead.
Well, I'm glad he held on to that. He didn't instill total confidence, but he held on to it cleanly. It was an awkward one, you know, one he should save, but again, you don't know how much goalkeeping Michael Doyle's done. You would imagine that Knots have done this.
Very little.
Well, you would imagine that Knots going without a goalkeeper for so often, you would like to think that somebody has put their hand up and say, yeah, I've got some sort of experience and competence as a goalkeeper, otherwise it's a massive gamble, and like I've said before, for me, it's a gamble not worth taking.
You would like to think that as Wootton flicks another header on and Rodriguez nearly gets onto the end of it. You'd like to think so, but I seem to remember asking Neil Ardley what happens if you ever do lose your goalkeeper, and I think he said, I don't know. I think I remember him saying that. So yes, you would like to think so. That being said, the fact that first of all Rodriguez went and grabbed a goalkeeping jersey, as Jimmy Knowles shows a lovely bit of footwork there to get away from a couple of Dagenham and Redbridge players. It's now with Wootton and back to Knowles inside the Daggers half, cutting in field, tries to steer away from 2 or 3 players and ends up trying to do too much. With Deering now out to Aletheru. To Robinson inside the centre circle. Reeves is on his back and watching him closely. He turns and plays it straight over the top and all the way through to Michael Doyle. Now, put yourself in the shoes of one of those Dagenham and Redbridge strikers. What are you thinking if you've got this proposition of a central midfielder who's played his entire life outfield in goal this evening?
Well, I'm pulling the trigger every time I get side to goal, reasonable side to goal, and I'm telling everybody out wide and the midfield players that any chance you get to put the ball into the penalty area, put it in there. You know, you've got to test them out. There's absolutely no point, you know, treating it like there's no... I mean, I'd even go back to the penalty, and Paul McCallum scored goals at this level. We know, and anyone can miss a penalty, of course you can, but with a standing goalkeeper in, I don't know, I'd just play it a little bit extra safe, make sure I hit the target, and do you know what, if he makes a save, fair play to him, but I'd make sure I hit the target, that's for certain.
Well, we've played 33 minutes. Notts leading by 1-0. It's throwing for Dagenham and Redbridge deep in their own territory. Enzio Baldwin has won the header. It's gone into the direction of Ruben Rodriguez, who's beaten two. He's going to hit it! Oh, it's 2-0! Ruben Rodriguez from Portugal with power. Oh, it's beautiful. He beats one, he beats two, and he thunders it home, breaking the net. Elliot Justin couldn't get his hands above his head quick enough. It is brilliant. 10-man Notts County with a midfielder in goal are 2-0 up against Dagenham and Redbridge.
Oh, fantastic strike from Ruben Rodriguez. Picks the ball up midway inside the Dagenham and Redbridge half. Drops his shoulder, works it onto his right foot, takes 2 or 3 Dagenham players out of it, gets it onto that right foot, hits it with a bit of swerve, but I think Justin should have done better than that. He's made a couple of decent saves, but it's flown into the roof of the net at that sort of near post. And say the goalkeeper, who's done well up till now, not covering himself in glory there, but we won't take anything away from Ruben Rodriguez. Fantastic strike, fantastic finish, gives Notts a second goal. And let's mention a little bit about the celebration, a full somersault on an icy surface.
Not seen many of them recently. I can't remember the last Notts County player to be able to do a somersault in a celebration. No, I wasn't going to suggest it was, Stan.
Forward roll, maybe.
You were more of a
no, even that.
You were more of a worm celebration kind of guy. Notts lead by 2-0 against Dagenham and Redbridge in this eventful and enthralling match. As Sam Deering picks it up, goes down the right-hand side with it now. Sam Slocum has just joined us up here in the back of the Derek Pavis stand, and we'll watch the rest of this game with us. So Dagenham and Redbridge throwing on the far side. Slocum sent off 18 minutes into this game. Penalty awarded to Dagenham and Redbridge. They subsequently miss it after Michael Doyle goes in goal. Knocks down to 10 men, leading at the time by 1-0. They now lead by 2-0. Robinson, dispossessed by the Magpies on the edge of their own penalty area. A long ball away into the Daggers half. And it's just that little bit of something extra that you do occasionally get from a Ruben Rodriguez, from an Enzio Baldwin, and obviously from a Cal Roberts whenever he's able to get back out there again. That was something special.
It was a fantastic strike, as I say, but a dip and swerve on it as well. So I think you've got to look at the keeper to say he maybe should have done better, but it's still a great goal. Fantastic bit of play, and that's that bit of clinical finishing, that sort of taking the chances that you have to need. And certainly when you're down to 10 men and you've got your midfield player in goal, you certainly need that.
Cross attempted from the right-hand side by the Daggers, blocked at source by Jordan Barnett. Now to Dean Rance. Rance is going to hit one from range, and Michael Doyle makes the save again. He's 2 for 2-ish, Michael Doyle.
I'm not going to get too cocky. There's a long way to go in this game yet, but yeah, absolutely faultless there with his handling. 25 yards out, the effort to his right-hand side. He just moved to his right, gathered it comfortably, and opted to catch the ball, which some keepers don't even do themselves. So maybe Michael Doyle has kept that card up his sleeve and kept it very quiet. But like I say, we're not saying too much. There's a long way to go in this game.
Yeah, maybe he's found another way to extend his playing career. Yes, long way to go. 37 minutes have been played. Notts leading by 2-0. The Daggers in possession on the halfway line with Rance. Through the lines up towards McQueen. Back to goal. Goes down, wants a free kick. Had to think about it. And then has given it, much to the ire of the Notts County players on the pitch. And certainly to Neil Ardley as well, who's having words with the fourth official. Very soft indeed. Yeah,
it was a little bit soft. It was one of them as well. The ref just waited to see what happened. And when he saw Notts had a bit of an opening, a chance to counter-attack, then he blew his whistle. So we'll have a look again. We do get replays here because of the stream. Yeah, very soft, very soft, but that's it. But again, dynamics change again. Darryl McMahon now with a a decision to make. Can you still be calm? Can you still bide your time when you're 2 goals down playing against 10 men? Saying maybe they've just got to throw a little bit more at it.
Free kick for Dagenham and Redbridge, taken short. Deering will cross the ball into the penalty area towards the back post. Notts players there jumping and leaping with the Dagenham players defending, as now one goes down, one of those Dagenham players just inside the penalty area, and the referee's given a make-up call, and it is a make-up call without a shadow of a doubt, and a free kick it is for Notts County just inside their penalty area. And Michael Doyle has come out to have a quick word with the referee this evening, Mr. Scott Simpson. Referees very much in the news of late, in the line of fire for a few decisions, and it's certainly not for us to go into this evening. But both teams have been on the back of the referee so far for a couple of decisions that have gone this way and that. 39 minutes nearly played. Notts leading by 2-0. Header away from Luke Kroll. Came through the youth system at Crystal Palace, and it's gone out for a throw-in that Dion Kelly-Evans will take just inside his own half. Down at Marn is telling him that Kelly-Evans has nicked a few yards. Deliberately, I'm sure.
Yeah, got to say I'm impressed with the setup that Notts have gone with since going down to 10 men as well. It's brave as well from Neil Ardley. They've gone 4-3-2, if you like. They've left Jimmy Knowles and Carl Wootton up front and just took the 2 wider players, Enzo Baldwin and Ruben Rodriguez, in a little bit narrow to make that midfield 3 with Jake Reeves, because he knows with the athleticism you've got with Jordan Barnett on the left-hand side and Dion Kelly-Evans, it's almost like having wing-backs anyway. So they've gone 4-3-2. Gone for the brave decision of leaving 2 men up, and it's certainly paid off by Ruben Rodriguez firing in that wonderful second goal for Notts.
It's been a remarkable first 40 minutes here at Meadow Lane. A bit of snow before the game started. It hasn't snowed too much since, but it is icy cold, but we've had plenty to keep us warm as far as on-pitch entertainment. Notts lead by 2-0. 5 minutes to go until half-time. Just trying to do a little bit too much on the far side. I think that might be Jimmy Knowles all the way over there in the distance. And he's conceded a throw, taken by a referee. On the strikers up there this evening, as you said, between Kyle Wootton and Jimmy Knowles, to take it in turns, dropping perhaps at times and supporting the midfield, but also to lead the line as well, to ensure that there's an outlet for Notts County. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what's important. And of course, with a man less, like I say, that's where you're losing that man effectively up front, and that's why the service into him has got to be with confidence, got to be accurate.
Here's Weston approaching the edge of the Notts penalty area. Kelly-Evans is tackling back and does just about enough to put the former Notts man off. Michael Doyle takes his time and wastes 4 or 5 seconds there as he gets the ball at his feet, and now bounces it several times just to make sure that it's still got air in it, and waits for his players to get up the pitch. Big booming clearance out of his gloves up towards the Dagenham and Redbridge defenders. Now Kyle Wootton has slipped it through towards Jimmy Knowles, and the linesman's flag is up. Knowles didn't know that and had a go at Elliot Justin, and Justin made another good save down to his right-hand side. I thought he might have been on for a moment.
Yeah, I think
a really good ball.
Just the wrong side, wasn't it? It was a lovely little ball from Kyle Wootton into his strike partner, in between the sort of 2 centre halves. He just hadn't stayed on side, Jimmy Knowles, but you say he wasn't to know that. Justin made the save anyway, so and then we just see a replay here. I tell you what, that is yeah, it's a tight.
I think he's being played on
either way
by Kenny Clark, but
it was flagged and he didn't put it in. But again, Notts just still posing that threat, and that's good because that'll keep Dagenham on their toes. It means they can't throw bodies forward, which means Notts won't have to soak up excess pressure or more pressure than they absolutely have to.
Throwing for Dagenham and Redbridge in their own half, 20 yards or so up the touchline from the corner flag. Kelly-Evans and Enzio Baldwin watching Callum. The ball falls to the Dutchman, who then goes down, wants a free kick, subsequently gets one. 42 minutes have been played, and it'll be a free kick for the Magpies out on this right-hand side. The smiley face that was drawn in Neil Ardley's technical area in the snow has faded somewhat, albeit I'm sure he's pretty proud of his players so far. 2 goals up, down to 10 men. and Doyle's in goal. Rodriguez has the free kick. His delivery so far has been magnificent, and he scored an absolute rocket as well. Another great cross into the penalty area, flicked on by Kyle Wootton, just never really able to get any power on it, and it was a comfortable save for the keeper down to his right.
Yeah, just really trying to turn it goalwards, hoping maybe somebody could get a deflection on it, too far out to generate any sort of power to trouble Justin. But again, good to make first contact in the penalty area from them set pieces, because you just never know in this sort of game, set piece might be absolutely vital.
Interestingly, Dagenham and Redbridge are ready in a change. Liam Gordon is stripped and ready to come on down there, which this close to half-time, I mean, I'm looking out there, nobody looks to be moving that gingerly. It's an interesting one, and you would think usually you could probably carry it to half-time, but the change is hoping to be made as Rance tries to play it up towards McCallum. It ends up at McQueen's feet, and now with Weston on the left-hand side, crossing to the penalty area, is flicked away, but not that far. It's going to fall to McCallum, and now to McQueen. Doyle makes a brilliant save, comes back to McCallum, cleared away by Enzio Baldwin. It's last-ditch defending back there, but a heck of a save from Doyle. The danger's still not cleared. Now it is, as Knowles helps it forwards. Wait, no, it's not. It's still with Dagenham and Redbridge near the edge of the Notts penalty area. McQueen goes down on the edge of the 18-yard box. Looked a free kick. The referee's not giving it. The Magpies have it back now with Jake Reeves, who steps away from one player, gets brought down. Free kick it is. Not a bad save, that.
It's a fantastic save. Doesn't matter how it's done, if it stays out the net from a Notts perspective, it's a fantastic save. We've just seen it here, ball into the box. Notts desperately trying to get it. Nobody can really make clean contact. 2 or 3 ricochets. It comes eventually to Darren McQueen, and he's only about 5 or 6 yards out, but Michael Doyle quickly just spreads himself, comes off his foot and clear, and Notts have a chance to relieve the pressure, win a free kick themselves. But yeah, fantastic save from the Notts skipper.
Curiouser and curiouser. Andrew Oletheru has gone off, and Liam Gordon has come on. He's not walking with a limp, Oletheru. He never looks like he was injured or hurt.
I think that's going to be a tactical change, isn't it?
Now?
Darryl McMahon, well, why not? Because I don't think Darryl McMahon's going to be pleased with what he's seen, as he Dagenham and Redbridge up against 10 men with an outfield player in goal well, I know they've just had a chance there from a scramble, but they've barely tested Notts at all. So I think he's going to maybe just make a slight adjustment to how his team are going to line up. Certainly how they're going to go about it. He'll be wanting much more of a threat from them. Say Notts can be over the moon with how things have gone since going down to 10 men, when I think we all feared the worst.
Yeah, 5 minutes of additional time for Notts to still see out at the end of this first half, and I guess that makes a bit more sense. I was looking at it thinking, why bring on Liam Gordon when you've only probably got a couple of minutes of stoppage time, but completely forgot that there was all that stoppage time amassed from the penalty and the sending off and the subsequent change around of who's in goal. Here come the Magpies again, inside that first minute of the 5 added on. That's a brilliant ball. Can Baldwin get there? No! Excellent cross from Jake Reeves from a really good run down the left-hand side. Now Kelly Evans is onto the ball just inside of the Dagenham and Redbridge half, and Baldwin just couldn't quite stretch his tippy toes onto it.
Yeah, superb play from Jake Reeves, as you mentioned, breaking onto the left-hand side and always playing a blind ball across the face of goal. Inviting ball, looking for Enzio Baldwin, who's just half a yard away from getting a finishing touch on it. But I think that exemplifies why Darryl McMahon's made the change, because Notts with 10 men got all the time in the world in the middle of the pot there to bring the ball down, play a couple of passes, and almost cut through Dagenham at will. He cannot be happy the visiting Daggers boss. No,
you wouldn't think so. Himself, Darryl McMahon, briefly at Notts on loan as a player back in 2006-2007. On ball over the top from Notts, has run all the way through to Justin. McMahon succeeded Sol Campbell at Macclesfield in the August of 2019 and resigned in the January of 2020 with all the problems that were going on there, and was appointed the Dagenham manager 24 hours later, something like that. Here's Baldwin picking up loads of space again in the centre circle. He's sprinting at the Dagenham and Redbridge defence. He takes it onto his left foot, slides it across to Wootton. He hits it! It's 3-0! Notts County with a night for the ages at Meadow Lane. They've got 10 men. They've got their skipper Michael Doyle in goal, but with Kyle Wootton and all the the space in the world for Enzio Baldwin. They have a 3-goal cushion. It's the sort of evening we wish you were here for. It is one to remember. Notts 3, Dagenham and Redbridge 0.
Absolutely fantastic goal. Clinical class in that final third. Exactly what we've been asking for. And boy, have they produced there. Enzio Baldwin picking the ball up and doing exactly what you would want him to do. Run at that Dagenham hard to the defence. Gets around the penalty area after making 30-40 yards with the ball. Just rolls it to Kyle Wootton invitingly and says, go and hit that first time for me. And that's exactly what he does with the inside of his right foot and places it, bends it into the far corner. No chance this time for Justin. And I'll say it slowly. Notts, 10-man Notts with Michael Doyle in goal. 3, Dagenham and Redbridge 0.
What a finish that is from the wand of Kyle Wootton's right boot. It curls, caressed into the far corner of Elliot Justum's net, who, I mean, maybe he should have got something on Ruben Rodriguez's pile driver. But that one there, you could have stuck 2 Elliot Justums in the goal. He still wouldn't have got it.
No, absolutely no chance for the keeper. But again, we've just been saying about Darryl McMahon not being happy. How easy was it for Enzio Baldwin to pick the ball up in the middle of the park? No challenge. No Dagenham players biting around him, trying to nick the ball off him and run through. And sets it up for Kyle Wootton. A quality goal.
They might not be done yet. Jimmy Knowles inside the Dagenham and Redbridge penalty area. He's still going. He's got Dagenham players nipping at his heels. He's tried to turn it back towards Dion Kelly-Evans. He's flown through Miles Weston with the most Dion Kelly-Evans challenge you've ever seen. It's Liam Gordon, excuse me, on the left-hand side. If you were to look up Dion Kelly-Evans on the internet, they'd show you that tackle.
Yeah, it's absolutely, he's not going to die wondering, is he Dion Kelly-Evans? But we're just seeing a replay there again. Lovely finish from Kyle Wootton, the leading scorer, his 2nd goal of the night, and that is a classy finish. Really composed, no blasting it, two to the good with 10 men. You know, you maybe snatch at it thinking, oh, this is a chance to maybe almost put the game to bed. But composed finish, just feels it into that far corner with his right foot. As you say, no chance for the goalkeeper.
They might have to redecorate the away changing rooms after this, because you can imagine as the ball comes into the Notts penalty area that the manager Darryl McMahon is not going to be happy. It falls to McCallum, he shoots, it's blocked, and it's going to end up at the feet of Michael Doyle. How Dagenham and Redbridge don't stop that again and score, I'll never know. But Conor Rawlinson with a heroic block, and he's not stopped flexing his muscles since in celebration.
And quite rightly, that is as good as a goal, that. Conor Rawlinson, the ball breaks to McCullum, 8 yards out. Yeah, Lacey's there as well, at Dion Kelly-Evans. Notts body's thrown in the way. That's exactly what you need. But Conor Rawlinson with the block on when it looked absolutely certain that McCallum was going to score. And you say, even at 3-0, as the half-time whistle goes at 3-0, the game is still very much there. This can change very quickly, but that is an unbelievable 45 minutes.
A first half worthy of a standing ovation. It's been remarkable stuff. From the moment that the referee blew his whistle to start this game, it has been frantic. The pace has been quick, back and forth. Dagenham have had their attacks. Notts at their very clinical and cutting best. Well, we are about to get underway. The Dagenham and Redbridge players have been out on the pitch getting cold for about 5 minutes. The Notts players have only just come straight back out there, and we are about to get underway, as I say, with Notts ready to take the kick-off. Everybody apart from the man who is going to take the kick-off, Jake Reeves, who was looking the other way for a moment. The referee blows his whistle, and we are underway in this second half. And even the kick-off looked like they were taking their time overtaking their Notts County. There will be a bit of, let's call it, game management in this second half. Notts County then with Michael Doyle in goal. At right back, Dion Kelly-Evans. In the middle of defence, Rawlinson and Lacey at left back. Jordan Barnett as Lacey brings McQueen down a couple of yards inside of the Notts half, and that's going to be a Dagenham and Redbridge free kick. Jake Reeves is in midfield. Jimmy Knowles has just stopped a free kick from being taken quickly, and so he gets a yellow card for that. So yeah, Jake Reeves is In the middle of midfield, Enzio Baldwin and Ruben Rodriguez out there as well, and then Kyle Wootton and Jimmy Knowles complete the Notts 10. As for Dagenham and Redbridge, they already made a change towards the end of the first half when Liam Gordon came on in place of Andrew Letheroux. They've got Elliot Justin in goal, 3 at the back in Clark, Reynolds and Kroll. From right to left, they've got Gordon, Robinson, Rance and Weston, and then Deering is getting forward and supporting a couple of Max, McQueen and McCallum. For Dagenham and Redbridge, here is Weston. He started the game on the left-hand side. He switched across to the right now, and Gordon is on the left, and that's where the ball is going, out towards the substitute. He plays it first time into the edge of the penalty area for Deering, who spins away from a couple of black and white shirts, but Notts really fight back well. Now it's with Jimmy Knowles, and the Magpies thinking counter-attack, as Reeves is leading that push at the moment, but everything slows as Kelly Evans gives it a ball away up towards the halfway line, which is not where they need to be giving that ball away. As the ball breaks down that left-hand side, now Deering will get it back, I would think. No, it goes to Rance instead, across the middle of the pitch to Clark, and now out onto the right wing for Weston, who'll look to skip away from Barnett. Good drifting ball. No, it's not. I thought it was going to fly a little bit longer, that out in the direction of Gordon, but it didn't. Jimmy Knowles working hard, trying to win it back, but Dagenham and Redbridge in possession once more on the halfway line. There's been a goal at Walsall, between Walsall and Mansfield Town. We will get the update in a moment from Jake Garner. We'll just wait for the ball to go dead, because here's Robinson turning, spinning towards the edge of the penalty area. Shots deflected, comes up in the air, and Michael Doyle does well to go up and grab it. Jake Garner, there has been a goal. Tell us about it. 2.5 minutes have been played here at Meadow Lane of the second half. Notts leading by 3-0. Remember, Michael Doyle is in goal for them after Sam Slocum was sent off 18 minutes into this game. Another free kick for Dagenham and Redbridge. Thank you very much, Jake. Jake Garner bringing you updates there on BBC Radio Nottingham. Walsall in front, as he says, against the Stags this evening, who've been in such red-hot form prior to them getting most of their games postponed. 5 in 6 or something like that, I think is accurate. Dagenham and Redbridge have the ball. They switch it from the centre circle out to the right-hand side for Miles Weston, who started the game like a ball out of a cannon. Slowed as Notts came into it more and more. There's another long ball out in his direction, out to the right wing. The green pitch tinged with white dustings of snow, and that only increases around the edges. Here come Notts again with Ruben Rodriguez, who got there second. He now curls the ball forwards. Enzio Baldwin runs onto it into the penalty area. Can he make it 4? He cuts back. He turns it through to Wootton, who skies it high into the cop. So high, I think they've ran out of letters. Oh, it was brilliant again from Rodriguez, and Baldwin did well. Kyle Wootton, who's on a hat-trick. It was on a plate for him, but he couldn't keep it down.
Yeah, not the finish that we saw in the first half from him. But fantastic break from Notts again down this left-hand side through Jordan Barnett initially, then Ruben Rodriguez. A good diagonal ball, put in Enzio Baldwin clear on the inside right channel. He drew the keeper, cut back and set it for Wootton, who skied it behind.
Here's Weston cutting into the penalty area. Tame pass, though, into the edge of the 6-yard box, and a comfortable claim for Michael Doyle. And we'll just shave a few more seconds. 4 minutes gone in the second half, and Notts County again able to cut through this Dagenham and Redbridge team.
I said before the game, when we played down at their place, they got one of the tightest defences, and sort of almost since then, I think it's 7 out of the last 8 games they've conceded at least 2 or more, and obviously they've done that again here tonight, and against a 10-man team without a proper goalkeeper in the goal for, well, half of the game that we've played so far.
There's Jimmy Knowles to Rodriguez. Pitch is open for him to try and curl another one, and he's got this one wrong. Dion Kelly Evans was probably the pass along the halfway line. Instead, he's tried to replicate what he did just a few moments ago, and has given it straight back to Dagenham and Redbridge, who sprint down the left-hand side with Gordon, cross into the penalty area. McCallum's there, good header away from Lacey, who goes down, and Michael Doyle leads the charge up to the referee, and Lacey's hurt. The Notts players furiously waving the physio on. Jake Reeves has gone and checked on him and doesn't seem too concerned, but we'll just have a look at a replay here to see if there was much in it. I think he just gets a shoulder in the back of the head maybe, and that'll be a sore one on a cold night.
Yeah, I think just a clash of heads. It was an inviting ball from that left-hand side, hung up for McCallum, who's You know, got good size about him, knows where the goal is, but Alex Lacey, good defensive work, gets the header first and just takes a clatter in the back of the head for his troubles, but wins Notts the free kick. The physio's on there, just making sure that the Notts centre half is okay, but he'll be in no rush to get back on his feet. Notts will be managing this game, you can bet your bottom dollar, for the remaining 40 minutes that we've got left.
Yeah, I should think so. Just saying there, Kyle Wootton with a good opportunity to get his hat-trick. I think that would be his first, if he were to get it, career hat-trick at senior level. 5 times last season he was on a hat-trick, got 2 goals in a game, and 2 or 3 times this season as well. He's bagged a couple in 1 match. Play will resume in a moment. Alex Lacey looks to be okay, and referee says that that'll be a free kick that Michael Doyle has to take from the ground. Testing his kicking, little things like this you don't usually have to consider, like how good will the kick be, because there is a technique for goalkeepers, and it's not brilliant as it comes straight back towards the defence, but who's the man there is Alex Lacey, as he nods it back, and Michael Doyle, in his eagerness to waste a few more seconds, looks to control the ball. A little bit of a loose touch, it could have run into his own net, but he got there in time. And then chasing Darren McQueen gets a little shove from Doyle for getting too close to him. Goalkeepers are cantankerous things at the best of times. Michael Doyle's got that bit like on pat.
Absolutely, but yeah, Michael Doyle's handling's been impeccable. His footwork's not been so clever, ironically, but yeah, just a little heart in that moment. There was Alex Lacey nodded the ball back to him, and he took a bit of a dodgy touch, and it rolled slowly towards the goal. He got there comfortably about a couple of yards before it went in, but yeah, just a little bit of a panic moment.
Incidentally, there's one FA Cup which is an early kick-off as well. It's Burnley against Bournemouth, the Championship club. Look like they're going to win that by a goal to nil. That one coming to an end at Turf Moor. Another FA Cup tie coming up later on this evening, which is Manchester United against West Ham. We've played 53 minutes here. Notts County 3, Dagenham and Redbridge 0. If you're just joining us, where you been? Notts are down to 10 men. They had the goalkeeper sent off. They got Michael Doyle in goal. We're 1-0 up at that point. Now they're 3 up. That's going to be a Notts throw-in. Sam Deering will run across and play the role of ball boy. Gives it to Neil Ardley. I'm not sure he'll be rushing to get it to Jordan Barnett. It'll be a throw-in for the Magpies, level with the halfway line. Notts looking for a 4th straight win, and also a 4th clean sheet on the spin in the league. Kyle Wootton hasn't managed to win that header. It's cleared away. Flick on as Conor Rawlinson manages to steer the play back towards Doyle. Takes 1 touch with his right and then clears away out to the left-hand side with his left. Another header won by Barnett. Can Rodriguez get there before Weston? Yes, he can. Wins it back for the Magpies. Goes down, wins a free kick. There's been another goal between Walsall and Mansfield. Jake Garner. That. Oh, yeah. Free kick for Notts. Lacey's the man to take it. Taking their time over it, of course, as well. Thank you very much, Jake. Not much coming of that free kick. A long, straight ball from Alex Lacey will skip away on the icy surface here at Meadow Lane this evening and go behind for a goal kick that's taken quickly by Elliot Justin. It's a stat that you trotted out a little bit earlier in this second half, and myself in the first half. Dagenham and Redbridge, a team that have conceded 2 or more in each of their last 5 and 7 of their last 8. Well, you can add to tonight on that as well, as Lacey makes a tackle, and now Rodriguez flies in, and Wootton gets there as well, and now it's with Barnett, who fizzes it out to this left-hand side for Jimmy Knowles, who couldn't quite control it, take the sting out of the ball, and a throw-in it'll be for the visiting Dagenham and Redbridge, who have it all to do in this second half. Yeah,
absolutely, and you know, the pattern's sort of set, isn't it? Notts can sit in and look to spring on the break when they get the ball. Dagenham are probing with his back 3 three, trying to manoeuvre the ball from side to side to find some space. But you can see Jimmy Knowles and Kyle Wootton, although playing as a front two, they're sat halfway inside the Notts half, trying to condense the play, not allow Dagenham any room to play into.
Weston's got past a couple of black and white shirts. He's now going to hit a fizzing shot, which turned into a cross. Shot goalwards from Gordon has gone right up over the top of the crossbar and behind into the Hayden Green family stand for a goal kick. Rodriguez flying in a couple of times in the last 2 or 3 minutes. He's going to have to be a bit more careful.
Yeah, that's it. But again, just got fortuitous, didn't they, Dagenham, with that? It was a wild shot from Weston with his left foot, sliced it completely the wrong way, but ended up turning into a reasonable pass to Liam Gordon, who good first touch, instant control, but then trying to almost do what Kyle Wootton did in the first half there, bend it with his right foot into the far corner, leaning back, got underneath it and didn't hit the target. And I reiterate again the importance of just hitting the target when you've got a non-goalkeeper in the goal is absolutely vital, and fortunately from a Notts perspective, Dagenham haven't been able to do that enough.
Alex Lacey wins another header in the middle of his half. Also Jordan Barnett, the number 7, the left fullback, which plays a long ball down the inside left channel, which will run all the way through to Elliot Justin. As Mark Stallard says, the pattern very much established. As you'd expect, the visiting team chasing a 3-goal deficit with a man advantage as well, enjoying all of the possession and much of the territory as well.
But this is fine from a Notts perspective. That's fine. You don't want to really be chasing the ball. You say you have the ball in these areas. You're not going to hurt us on the halfway line. You pass it around your 3 centre halves, have it there for the next 30 odd minutes. It's not going to bother us. The minute you try and come into our area, we'll do exactly that. Go and nick the ball. Yeah,
and Rodriguez is on the ball. He cuts away from one man. He slides it out onto the left-hand side for Jimmy Knowles inside the penalty area, onto his right foot. It all opened up for him for a moment. He's not only missed the goal, he stuck it off against the fence on the side of the Kop.
Oh, superb from Ruben Rodriguez, reading the pass out from the Dagenham defender, intercepting the ball on the halfway line, advancing 10-15 yards inside, and then a little reverse ball for Jimmy Knowles, who's in that inside left channel on his right foot, and again does similar to Liam Gordon did down the other end just a minute or two ago, skied his chance when looking to find the far corner.
Oh, Weston here trying to turn away from Barnett. Not thought they should have had a free kick, but he still managed to get the ball in, and there he is making himself big. Michael Doyle plucks the ball out of the sky, grabs it gratefully to his chest, and then looks around as if nothing's out of the ordinary. Notts in possession down the left hand side. It was another lovely bit of build-up play from Notts, making the most of the space that they can find out there as Enzio cuts in front of his man now, and he's off to the races once more, out to the left wing for Jimmy Knowles again, cutting into that penalty area once more, stabs it back towards Ruben Rodriguez on a plate for Jake Reeves, who has to take a touch to get it away from a red shirt or two, and back onto the left-hand side again for Jimmy Knowles. He's got 2 men to try and beat. There's a bit of support there from Barnett as well. Baldwin's come across to try and offer an extra body. He's managed to weave his way between a couple of players, get to the byline, little Cruyff turn. Has he won a corner? He has done. Well done, Jimmy Knowles.
Fantastic play from Notts. And again, Dagenham just look like they're standing there like the mannequins you see in training sometimes. Nobody really engaging. First Enzio Baldwin breaking through the middle of the pitch, going beyond the lines, barely having to ride a tackle, and then Jimmy Knowles doing really well out on this left-hand side, eventually getting himself to the byline after beating 2 or 3 Dagenham men. When the tackle does eventually come, and it concedes a corner, and Notts will not be in a great hurry to go and take it from this attacking left-hand side.
Shouldn't think so. Here comes the corner kick from Rodriguez. Not a bad looking ball up towards the penalty spot. Header won by Connell Rawlinson. Dagenham and Redbridge for a moment fluff their lines as they look to clear it, and Jake Reeves makes the tackle, gives away the free kick, knew what he was doing.
Yes,
no yellow card coming his way.
That is what you call a good foul for the team. That is just as Dagenham maybe potentially look to break from the corner. Just a little clumsy foul, not going to get a yellow card for it, but you're going to stop play, allow all your teammates to get back. That's what you call a good foul for the team.
Inside the hour mark here at Meadow Lane, Notts leading against Dagenham and Redbridge by 3-0. Jimmy Knowles, the latest man to have a good opportunity to try and get a 4th for Notts, and you could see exactly what he was trying to do. He got it onto his right foot. There was enough space for him, and he was just looking to try and pick out the far top corner, as Kyle Wootton had done for Notts' 3rd, and just didn't quite catch it right.
Yeah, absolutely. But we were expecting a bit of an onslaught, or certainly a reaction from Dagenham and Redbridge in this second half against the Notts 10 men. But in truth, it's Notts who've come closer to scoring the 4th goal of this game. And of course, it would have been their fourth goal with that chance for Kyle Wootton and then Jimmy Knowles as well. St. Notts have still created the best openings in this second half as well.
Dagenham throwing near the halfway line, taken quickly. Given to former Portsmouth man Callum Reynolds. Long ball forwards. Lacey wins a header out to the left-hand side. Baldwin just stabs it away from Gordon. It's smashed clear once more by Dion Kelly-Evans. It's something you mentioned before the game, Stout. I think it might be the first time that Kelly-Evans has been picked ahead of Richard Brindley at right full-back when Brindley's fit and available. Yeah,
I certainly can't remember when that's happened before. Certainly as right back, we know Dion Kelly-Evans has played quite a bit at left back this season, but when both have been available, I think it's usually been Richard Brindley getting that right back slot, and tonight Brindley's on the bench and Dion Kelly-Evans gets the starting berth. And say early on particularly, but all the way through he's made the usual Dion Kelly-Evans contribution.
Dagenham and Redbridge have made their second change of the evening. Scott Wilson, who was on loan at Notts at the end of last season before the pandemic hit, and they extended that loan for the playoffs as well, though he didn't feature. He comes on. He's got 3 goals this season. Used to be at Oldham, used to be at Macclesfield. And Darren McQueen, the man who won that penalty that saw Sam Slocum get sent off, has made way. So 2 of the 3 substitutions made by Farrell McMahon. That's going to be a free kick for Notts. Linesman's flag is up as another former Notts man, Miles Weston, is just caught with his tippy toes offside as a little bit of light snow starts to fall again here under the floodlights. Notts continues to lead by 3-0 with 62 minutes played. Still looking for, again, another clean sheet. Only conceded 2 in their last 9. And have lost only 2 of their last 14 in all competitions. Michael Doyle comes across and takes the resulting free kick. Comes a long way from his goal and doesn't really catch the free kick in the way that he would have liked. So he had to scamper back into his 18-yard box with gusto. Justin on the ball once again. That's how a goalkeeper kicks it, long and into the Notts half. Headers won by Lacey and Rawlinson, who both came out of defence to win the headers. Notts are on the ball with Knowles on this near side. That's an aggressive looking but strong, and according to the referee, fair tackle, but Neil Ardley's not having it, nor are any of the players on the pitch, as Kenny Clark flies through the back of Jimmy Knowles on this near touchline, wins the ball, but certainly gets a little bit of the man as well. And that snow really coming down now.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, I think that's just one of them, isn't it? Not so going to appeal for things like that, looking for a ref to maybe even it up. He does commit himself, and Jimmy Knowles is in the way, but he goes through him, gets the ball. So I think it's not so just going to keep putting pressure on this referee to maybe level things up. Nothing really doing there.
There's Kyle Wootton. He's managed to get away from 2 Dagenham and Redbridge players. He's approaching the corner flag. Comes back to Rodriguez, who steps in between another couple red shirts. Now to Jimmy Knowles, who tries to find his way through. It's deflected into the path of Rodriguez. Back to Knowles once more. The Meadow Lane pitch christened by the new falling snow. It's with Rodriguez on the left wing. He'll look into the feet of Kyle Wootton, who can't quite hold it up. He had his defender pinned, but the ball bounced off of him like it was coming off the trampoline. But Notts have it back once more with Jake Reeves again out to the left wing. I think Knowles never really bent his run enough, and the linesman on the far side agrees. Offside flag is up. Free kick it is. Notts 3, Dagenham 0. 64 minutes gone. More football for you on the way at the weekend. Notts are at Wrexham. Forest have got Bournemouth. That one is an early kick-off, 12:30. And it's Colchester against Mansfield as well, as Conor Rawlinson belts the ball away up towards the halfway line. Rodriguez will get there first, who has as good a shout as anyone to be crowned man of the match this evening, should he continue in the way that he has done. His delivery's been brilliant. His finishing for the second goal was magnificent. And Rodriguez on the ball once more. Back to Barnett. Long ball, 2 straight beyond everybody, and straight through to the goalkeeper, Elliot Justin.
Yeah, I don't mind that from Barnett. Rather too long than too short. You don't want to give the ball away to the opponents. Maybe just buying a breather. Notts have negotiated virtually the first 20 minutes of this second half. Very nearly extended the lead, but they've certainly not been that close to conceding anything, so they'll be delighted with that. Game management now kicks in, just taking their time with the ball, keeping the quality. And again, you know, it's down to the visitors. What have they got? And so far in the first 20 minutes of this second half, not a lot is the answer.
Yeah. Fresh sprinkling of snow covers the Meadow Lane playing surface now. I don't think I've seen this much snow on the pitch here since the snow game between Notts County and Mansfield Town here. Almost a sellout at Meadow Lane, and there was late drama in that one. I think Kane Hemmings scored a penalty to see the spoils shared that day in the very last kick of the game or something like that, and of course Hemmings would then go on to join Notts. Another change on the way for Dagenham and Redbridge. Sam Deering, who, remember, pulled so many strings down at Dagenham and Redbridge at the beginning of December, he comes off, his race is run, and in his place George Saunders. So that's Dagenham and Redbridge's final throw at a dice as the snow kicks in again and gets a little bit heavier. Ball down the left-hand side, left by Jimmy Knowles, will find Rodriguez. Edge of the penalty area, out to the left wing, cuts in. All the dancing and trickery there, but whilst he managed to nutmeg the Dagenham and Redbridge defender, it did go straight at the goalkeeper, Justin, who was able to make an easy save.
Yeah, hit the target, but unfortunately the finish didn't quite match the build-up. It was direct from Notts, but down this side, a good ball from Jordan Barnett on the left-hand side, beautifully left by Jimmy Knowles. Knew exactly what he was doing for the runner, Ruben Rodriguez, on that left-hand side. And as he attacked, they levelled up the Dagenham and Redbridge defender, went for the shot early, tried to catch the keeper off guard through the defender's legs, but tamely straight at the keeper. But good play by Notts again.
Notts win a free kick 5 yards inside of the Dagenham and Redbridge half. Jimmy Knowles, the man who went down. They've been calling Notts fans for Knowles to get a run, get a start in the team for quite some time. Mark Stallard, what have you made of him?
Yeah, I think it's been fantastic, but then the whole team's been fantastic. It's been a fantastic team performance so far with 66, very nearly 67 minutes on the clock. And he's carrying the ball, he offers that youthful enthusiasm, running, plenty of running direct, and he's got an eye for goal. And it wasn't too far away from scoring. The rebound of the first goal fell for Kyle Wootton after the save. And it's been a fantastic Notts performance all round so far. And I say, just to go into the cliche world a little bit, but you wouldn't guess it was Notts the team with 10 men in this game. It looks like Dagenham.
Yeah, you really would. Here comes Enzio Baldwin sprinting down the left-hand side. He's got one man to beat. He's just inside the penalty area. He'll cut it back to Wootton, who takes the touch. He'll try to get there. He's a little bit of a nudge off of the ball, and down he goes. No shouts for a penalty or anything like that as the snow relents for a moment. And Notts County concede a throw-in around 25 yards or so inside the Dagenham and Redbridge half. It is cold.
You're not wrong. I'd not missed that. I'd not missed that, mate. But thanks for telling me.
Oh, no. Didn't want to be on my own in it.
Well, no, you're right. But halfway through this second half already, and I'm not sure, remind me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Michael Doyle's had a save to make, has he? He's
plucked out one. No, the most edgy it got was when Alex Lacey nodded the ball back to him, and he tried to take a touch and nearly let it run under his feet.
And that's credit to how well the lads are working in front of him, but again, the visitors have got to look at themselves.
Well, here's Weston with a cross towards the back post. McCallum is there, but again, the Notts players crowding him out. And the header from McCallum has gone behind for a goal kick. He seems to think it should have been a corner. Michael Doyle with a few angry words for his players out on this near side for allowing the cross in the first place. It does come off of McCallum's head. We've just seen the replay. But he was so very closely watched by Dion Kelly-Evans and Rawlinson.
Yeah, exactly. Good defending, if you like, from Notts, like you say, just doing enough. But that's the first time they've hung a ball up. McCallum heads that ball about 3 yards out at the back post. Michael Doyle's not going to come and claim that. It's took them, what 69 minutes now to actually just hang a ball up at the far post and ask questions and say, go and attack that. Paul McCallum, and he gets a head on it, can't get it goalwards. It's gone beyond the far post and a goal kick to Notts, but cracky me. So it took about taking a while for the penny to drop.
Well, quite. Darryl McMahon is nowhere to be seen on the edge of his technical area. He's stood to the left of the dugout, I think, at the moment. Although one man in a coat and a woolly hat now emerges from the Dagenham and Redbridge dugout. As the ball goes back towards Doyle, he takes a touch again and turns it out onto the left-hand side. Towards Barnett. Barnett forwards to Reeves inside his own half. He turns away from his man again and just buys a bit more space and a bit more time. Long ball forwards from Jordan Barnett up in the direction of Jimmy Knowles. beyond him as Dagenham and Redbridge retrieve possession once more. Checking with Jake Garner shortly on BBC Radio Nottingham to find out the latest on Walsall against Mansfield Town. In fact, we'll do that now on Radio Nottingham as the ball runs out for a Notts County goal kick. Jake. Meanwhile here, Mark Stallard, 20 minutes remaining, plus the stoppage time as well. Does Neil Ardley start thinking about, well, what changes can I make, or are things going so well that you just leave it? I wonder.
I think he'll start thinking of changes very shortly, because you don't want to ask too much of lads. You don't want to get any injuries. I say it's been largely comfortable, but I think they're going to maybe look to shuffle the pack in a minute or two.
Goal kick for Notts. And here come the Magpies again down the left-hand side with Ruben Rodriguez. He crosses it back across the 18-yard box to Knowles. Cleared away by the Daggers. Thank you very much, Jake. Here, Michael Doyle sprints out of his penalty area to get there in front of one of the Dagenham players who was sprinting down the left-hand side to challenge him, but Doyle got there first and put it out for a throw-in for the visitors on the far side and about 10 or 15 yards inside the Notts half. While you were away on BBC Radio Nottingham, Magpies had another really promising attack where they picked up so much space. Jimmy Knowles involved, Rodriguez coming forwards as well, but nothing coming of it this time as Lacey now wins a header away on the edge of his penalty area. It's going to fall towards Saunders, who turns. He'll hit one from range, and that was never going to trap Michael Doyle. No,
didn't hit the target, but again, you know, at least pulling the trigger. You know, you barely tested him. I can't get my head around why they haven't, you know, asked one or two more questions. If they're not like okay on that occasion, as you say, Saunders pulling the trigger fully 30 yards out, not hitting the target. So like we always say, if you don't buy a ticket, you're never going to win the raffle. You just never know, do you? Even with, what, 18 minutes plus whatever stoppage time we've got left on the clock. If Dagenham got one now, it would just send a few little shock waves through that Notts. How do they react to that? But they've certainly got to be better than they have been so far, Dagenham, to even trouble.
Less than 20 minutes remaining here at Meadow Lane. Notts still leading by 3-0 and down to 10 men as well, as Dion Kelly-Evans tries to win a header against a much taller Dagenham player, giving away a free kick on the edge of his penalty area. So this is a moment of danger now, real danger. You can't imagine that Dagenham and Redbridge are going to do anything but have a go at goal here and try and test Michael Doyle in that Notts goal for the first time in this second half. I think that is George Saunders stood over the ball, but they, you know, everybody wants a piece of it really. Miles Weston is there as well, as is Callum Reynolds. There are plenty of Dagenham and Redbridge players inside the Notts penalty area as well. 4 of them lined up trying to block Doyle's view. It looks like it will suit a right footer, which is Saunders. And he stands at the angle appropriate to take this free kick. There's a 3-man wall, maybe a 4. Here comes Saunders, tries to sneak it underneath the 4-man wall. Now it's squared across towards Rance, who hits one, and it's gone a very, very long way wide. And that, in a nutshell, kind of sums up Dagenham and Redbridge this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's sort of a microcosm of how they've been. Free kick 25 yards out, dangerous moment, but barely gets above knee height into the wall. And then as the second ball comes back squared to Rance, the skipper for Dagenham and Redbridge slices across the ball, and it goes about 10 yards wide of the Notts County goal, and will allow Michael Doyle to take his time in taking the goal kick. And so there's just been nowhere near any sort of real threat on the Notts County goal. And like I say, after 20 minutes or so, when Sam Slocum was sent off and Notts were facing a penalty, you just couldn't believe that being the case.
Knowles back on the ball again with Rodriguez, who stabs it out onto the left-hand side. Knowles was nearly away, but he just lost it in his feet. Then trying to tackle back, he did, but he's given away a throw-in in the process. And the effort was applauded by his manager, Neil Ardley, who was looking right at it from around 10 yards away. That tie in the FA Cup between Burnley and Bournemouth this evening is finished. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2. Just underway at Old Trafford between Man United and West Ham. 0-0 there in the early stages. And as you heard from Jake Garner a short while ago on BBC Radio Nottingham at half-time in League 2, Walsall 1, Mansfield Town 1. Elsewhere in the National League this evening, Hartlepool are leading against Solihull Moors by 2-0. It's 0-0 between Eastleigh and Yeovil. Lots of games off, 3 or 4 of them off this evening, and then The rest of them are 7:45 kickoffs and so aren't underway just yet. But here, Notts County leading by 3-0 and down to 10 men with Michael Doyle in goal because they didn't have a substitute goalkeeper on the bench when Sam Slocum was sent off with 18 minutes gone. But they lead 3-0. More defending to do here, though, as Rawlinson heads the ball away from inside his own penalty area. 15 minutes remaining. There'll be some stoppage time, 3 or 4 minutes. There were 5 at the end of the first half. That's neat from Dagenham and Redbridge as Gordon crosses it into the penalty area. Good stop made by Doyle inside his 6-yard box, who slides along the ground and sticks a boot out. Good connection as well as it cleared. And now Wootton's back there to head the danger away again from the edge of the penalty area. It's now across towards Kenny Clark, who's closed down by Rodriguez, steps to one side of him and curls across out to the left-hand side once more. It'll run through to Saunders, right-footed cross towards the back post beyond everybody, and a header away again back there from Notts as Rodriguez flies in to try and win a tackle, but Clark gets there first. Now with Robinson on the edge of the penalty area, square once more, looking for the return pass into the 18-yard box, but Notts have got black and white shirts back there and they manage to stand strong once more. Now with Weston, right-footed cross into the 18-yard box, cleared away. There's going to be a shot goalwards until big Connell Rawlinson flies out of defence like a cannonball, throws himself at the feet of Luke Kroll, and it'll be a throw-in on the far side. I couldn't think of many things more terrifying than the bearded Welshman flying at me like that.
Yeah, like a human bowling ball, wasn't he there coming out? He headed the clearance and it was him charging it down as the Dagenham and Redbridge cross drifts over the Michael Doyle's goal and out for a goal kick. And say that, you know, Connor Rawlinson, fantastic block he made in the first half in the 6-yard box, and on that occasion, they say, heading the first ball away and then charging out to block the potential shot. So real commitment from every single Notts player. You know, I don't want to single anybody out. They've all been absolutely fantastic thus far. 76 minutes on the clock, and we will see Notts County's first change.
We will. It's Ini Effiong who will come on, and we'll look to see who it is that's going to come off. Ruben Rodriguez coming to the near side, but I think only for an energy tab. Jimmy Knowles is the other. So it's going to be Knowles who will make way this evening. Didn't get his goal, but he's certainly been involved in putting a good show in, Mark Stella.
Yeah, absolutely, and gets a big hug from the manager there and words of encouragement and praise, I'm sure. And so I'd give a little bit of praise for Neil Ardley as well for leaving both centre forwards on, both the strikers. When they go down to 10 men, how often do you see that a striker gets dragged off to pack the midfield and the defence? Neil Ardley didn't do that, and thus far has got his rewards for it.
Lacey wins a header, Wilson challenging with him. The ball comes out towards Barnett on the left-hand side. Snow continuing to fall here. Looks like a snow globe this evening, and it is the sort of scene that you want to capture. Notts County 3, Dagenham 0. Such a heroic performance from so many of them, in fact all of them out there this evening. I had a quick chat with a member of the coaching staff at half-time and said, has Michael Doyle got any goalkeeping experience? He said, you'd have to ask him, but you know what he's like, he'll put his hand up for anything. If you need like an extra player for a game of squash or tiddlywinks, he'd stick his hand up and say, sure, I'll give it a go.
I'm also wondering if he's borrowed Sam Slocum's gloves, whether his fingers go to the end of the gloves. Yeah. It's like when you're a kid at school but wearing a pair of shoes that are about 3 sizes too big and hoping you grow into them.
Well, I saw when they were deciding who was going to go in goal, there was a bit of a to-do about what type of gloves were going to be worn. I can't imagine he packs goalkeeping gloves with him on his way to games, so there must be somebody else's. Ball out on that right wing for Notts. It's with Enzio Baldwin close to the corner flag. He's lost it. Kroll's nicked it off of him, smacked it down the left-hand side, and Dagenham and Redbridge looking for a counter-attack here through the middle with Scott Wilson, but Jordan Barnett showing his pace there, and he does have plenty of it. Gets there in front of Wilson and manages to steer the ball back towards Michael Doyle. Wilson bearing down at him, and of course that area of his game, the composure to be able to just look up and find a pass, is what you'd expect from Doyle, and he does that.
Yeah, absolutely, but I've got to go say Jordan Barnett as well. You know, he's been absolutely fantastic tonight, as has everyone, but you know, your fullbacks don't always get a lot of praise and glory. Dion Kelly-Evans, we know, gets quite a lot of praise, and Jordan Barnett as well tonight has done an admirable job. Good delivery with the ball, but his defensive side of the game looks pretty sound as well.
Yeah, missing sort of piece of the puzzle this season for Notts. Sadly, Damien McCrory struggling so much with injuries and had to have surgery, and so not expected to return for quite some time. They have played Dion Kelly-Evans at left full-back, and he's done that brilliantly as well. But Now you've got a left fullback out there. It allows Kelly Evans to do things like what we've just seen there, as he's managed to shepherd the ball out. Probably should have been a free kick, really, as Saunders clattered into the back of him near the byline. But it'll be a goal kick, which is all the same, really, as Doyle comes across and picks the ball up and swaggers back to the edge of the 6-yard box, and won't be in any hurry to take the resulting goal kick.
Absolutely, and again, good defensive work from the fullback. So two man knots have absolutely stood up and been counted, thrown their bodies on the line when necessary, but more importantly, shown quality. You know, they've shown dominance in this game, which is incredible. And so, as we say about the circumstances, they've been absolutely dominant and looking to break again.
Wonderful pass from Kyle Wootton out onto the left-hand side. Rodriguez's touch let him down a little, and it almost led to him being on the wrong end of a very powerful challenge, as Miles Weston gets lucky and away from Barnett, but Reeves comes across and takes him out, and takes the yellow card, I would imagine, as well, Mark Spallard.
Yeah, that one may be a yellow card, but again, you know, he's in the right place to do that. He justifiably do that with 10 minutes left. You know, Miles Weston's going to show him a clean pair of heels. The two Notts players been taken out of it by the lucky ricochet that Weston had. So sometimes you have to take it, make sure the man and ball do not pass, although it will be a chance for Dagenham to put a ball into the penalty area.
Yeah, indeed. So you do wonder whether or not it's the right decision, but that's the benefit of hindsight. And at the time when he flew in and took him out, I didn't think it was the wrong decision. 81 minutes gone, Notts 3, Dagenham and Redbridge 0. Some more defending for them to do. Left-footed cross into the 18-yard box. Header one, up in the air it goes. Falls on the nod of Saunders now. The head tennis continues before it's stabbed away by Wootton. And Notts will try to put a bit of space between their goalkeeper, Michael Doyle, and the last defender. But the ball is coming straight back in their direction. It's with Gordon, who's taking it past one, steered it out to Wilson on the right-hand side of the penalty area. He hits one, goes behind, off of the side netting for another goal kick.
Yeah, Michael Doyle is calm as you like, but I'm not sure he knew too much about that. Wilson looked like he was going to shape to play one across the face of goal, and in the end went for that near post. It hit the side netting. It was only maybe a foot or two wide of the near post, but Michael Doyle, perhaps just a step or two anticipating the cross, may have just been done, but he'll tell you it was all under control.
I'm sure it was. Long ball away from Notts, runs out for a throw-in for Dagenham and Redbridge inside their own half. Elliot Justin hurries across to retrieve the ball. And Clark takes the throw. Notts on course for a 4th straight win and 4th straight clean sheet as well. And to do it in the conditions that they've done it in these circumstances, would be quite remarkable. Dagenham and Redbridge with the ball once more inside the Notts half and on the left wing. Pitch is largely covered in a dusting of white snow now. Continue to attack the edge of the Notts penalty area. It's with Wilson, who turns it out onto the left-hand side, and that's Saunders. Quick step over, tries to work it onto his right foot, shoots straight into the gloves of Michael Doyle, who was down low and now holds the ball under his midriff, but doesn't put it in his gloves, just so he can eat up another 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah, again, just on that inside left channel, working the ball onto the right foot, shot straight at Michael Doyle, who's on his knees, but his handling's been exemplary. Like I say, I don't know what we were worried about. While we knew we had a backup goalkeeper in Michael Doyle, who's almost too old to be a goalkeeper, but
you said that, not me. Here comes across into the penalty area, cleared away by Rawlinson once more. Ini Effiong brings down Callum Reynolds, and that's going to be another free kick for the visitors. 83.5 minutes on the clock. Notts 3, Dagenham 0. Most of the big Dagenham players are forward on the edge of that Notts penalty area. They win a header through Reynolds, but it's volleyed clear by Lacey. Header one by Clark, and back to Weston near the edge of that Notts 18-yard box. Barnett stands up strong again. Robinson stabs one through, but Michael Doyle throws his hands out wide as if to say it's always going wide, that, which it does, behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, and again, it was just hopeful, wasn't it? No real aim or purpose about Dagenham's play there. The ball in there from Robinson, just, you know, a little bit aimless, and sums them up all night. You know, Notts have been superb, absolutely superb, but, you know, Dagenham, well, you can understand why they're maybe as far down the table as you can see after tonight. And this is not going to do their confidence any good. You know, playing against 10 men for so long in a game, You know, no goalkeeper, as we've mentioned on numerous occasions, to get beat 3-0. Well, that can be the sort of result and effect that has sent ripples around the rest of your season.
As Robinson, as the referee played an advantage after Dion Kelly-Evans caught one of the Dagenham players. Robinson tries to play it through the lines to Saunders, who's been involved quite a bit since he came off of the bench. Not scored for Dagenham and Redbridge yet this season, but as I say, very involved as a cross gets bent into the penalty area and flicked behind for only their second corner of the game. They got their first one very early in the game. So run all this time with a man advantage as well, and now only get their second. Probably sums it up as well and tells you a lot. But here comes the corner, in at the near post. Kelly-Evans wins the header, goes down, wants a free kick, won't get one, stayed down. Referee's going to have to stop it. He now does, as Kelly-Evans went down in a crumpled heap, and Michael Doyle has some angry words for the referee. Kelly-Evans is on his all fours and slowly getting back up once more. Neil Ardley is explaining the finer points of what has exactly happened to the fourth official. He will know plenty as a former defender himself. Play will continue anyway. Dagenham and Redbridge restart it out towards the right-hand side and inside the Notts half. But as soon as I say that, Magpies win it back again with a long ball over the top. Ini Effiong's going to chase after it. Can he get away from the last man? He's pushed out wide to the left-hand side of the penalty area. He'll win a corner kick. He's done very well.
Yeah, he's done enough there. Like I say, for a split second, the ball over the top. He'd got goal side, but he just couldn't get the ball down and get his legs going quite enough to get away. And you say the Dagenham Redbridge defender just got back, pushed him away from goal. But he squared him up, regained his composure, Effiong, and wins Notts a corner. And with 86 minutes plus on the clock, Notts will not be in a hurry to take it. And you fancy that this game is done and dusted.
Let's hope so. 86.5 minutes gone. Corner kick to be taken by Ruben Rodriguez, right-footed in-swinger. Oh, keeper's come and flapped at it a little bit. It's fallen towards Reeves, who's going to volley one. It's now out towards NCO Baldwin. He'll try to caress one into the top corner. That was the attempt anyway. It's gone wide.
Yeah, just got his radar wrong there, NCO again. But two balls cleared from the goalkeeper's punch, picked up by Notts players. 10 men picking up the second balls. I mean, it's incredible. It goes to show Notts have been excellent. They've been all over the pitch tonight. They've been on it. You know, first to react. Good in possession, good out of possession, and really dominated this game, which is an unbelievable thing to say after, well, I don't think we'd have been thinking we'd be saying that after 20 minutes of the game.
Clark on the ball for Dagenham and Redbridge once more. 87 minutes on the clock. Notts leading by 3-0. Lovely little back heel from Kyle Wootton. Now it's with NCO Baldwin, whose shot a few moments ago went about 2 or 3 yards high and wide of the top right corner. Here's Rodriguez down the left wing, ball into the penalty area across the 6-yard box and cleared away once more, but only as far as Reeves, who's going to steer it down the right wing now as well. He's going to get away from his man at this rate as well. Oh, just did a little bit too much in the end, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. It's quite remarkable, really, how well Notts have coped with going down to 10 men and, of course, losing a midfielder out of the middle of the park because he had to go in goal. But by the same very virtue, how badly Dagenham and Redbridge have responded.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I can't overestimate, really, or understate how bad I think Dagenham have been. They've barely put a tackle in. They've barely got around Notts. Notts have been able to, with a man less, play, pass the ball. They've been, you know, snapping at the Dagenham players' heels. You know, and Notts have been in possession. There seems all the space in the world, but I'm going to focus on Notts because I think they've been absolutely superb to a man tonight. All the way through, like I say, in and out of possession, they've been very near faultless. I thought for a couple of minutes after the sending off, it just took them a couple of minutes to adjust. They a little bit panicky, but after that, they've been immense.
Notts making tackles again on the edge of their own penalty area. Here's Jake Reeves inside his own half and out to the right wing. He holds it up for a moment and then looks for the long ball down that right touchline that Kyle Wootton, whilst he gainfully chases after, can't quite reach. And we're inside the final minute of the 90. Dagenham and Redbridge again will come once more down that left-hand side. Conor Rawlinson gives it the thou shall not pass. Flies into a challenge on his former teammate Scott Wilson. Ball out for a Dagenham throw. Back to the skipper, Rance. First time cross into the 18-yard box is comfortably cleared away by Lacey, and Effiong's going to challenge. He's probably given away a free kick. He has done, about 6 or 7 yards inside of his own half, which means another long ball forwards into the penalty area, but with less than 30 seconds remaining. Even this, on a remarkable night at Meadow Lane, surely can't result in anything but a Notts County win. Here's Robinson on the edge of the penalty area. They've won it again. Kelly Evans will come away with it, tries to get away from a couple of players, battling all the while, as you fully expect him to always do. He's that committed player, a few more committed than him. It's now with Kroll, cross to Rance, middle of the Notts half to Robinson. Bit of space here for a shot if he chooses to hit it. He does, and he's robbed Michael Doyle of a clean sheet. Away to the bottom right-hand corner, and Dagenham and Redbridge have a goal back. 3 minutes of additional time. Surely only a consolation. No celebration from Robinson. Takes a little bit of a touch off of the night, but to be honest with you, at 18 minutes on the clock, when Notts were only a goal up and they'd had their keeper sent off and they didn't have a substitute keeper on the bench, you'd take it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just gutted, like I say, for Michael Doyle and the Notts players that they've lost the clean sheet there. But again, it just adds further fuel to the fire. Why have Dagenham and Redbridge not been doing that for the last 70 minutes? It wasn't anything spectacular that they did, just work the ball to the penalty area. Robinson on his right foot hit the ball from 18 yards out, low, across the goal into the far corner. Is not just going to try and make these last couple of minutes interesting as they concede a needless corner. But like I say, we are in the last 2 minutes of injury time. But yeah, disappointing from a Notts perspective that they're not going to get that clean sheet, which their performance really deserves. Yeah, indeed. They've got some defending to do now. Corner kick, which will make it very interesting. Surely they don't have enough time. Corner goes short, out towards Gordon, left-footed cross into the penalty area. It's flicked on towards the back post, helped back in the air once more. Rawlinson will attack that, wins the header. Rodriguez back there as well. McCallum tried to turn it goalwards, and it's flicked off of a Notts player last, I think, Baldwin, and gone behind for another corner kick. Yeah, 90 seconds left, so I'm going to say, surely, unless the referee's watches stopped, even if they did get a second, there wouldn't be time for anything more. No, here comes the in-swinging corner, headed away by Barnett. Ini Effiong there as well, inside his own penalty area. He'll steer that away, and Notts have a counter-attack on of their own here, should they choose to use it. Kelly Evans plays it down the right-hand side. That'll run out for a throw-in. We are inside the final minute of the 3 added on at the end of this game. Notts County leading against Dagenham and Redbridge by 3 goals to 1. Header won by Lacey once more. Now to Saunders. Out to the left-hand side, about 10 yards in from the left touchline. Gordon takes a touch and another. Gets to the byline, cross into the penalty area, cleared away by Rawlinson into the midriff of Baldwin. Few shouts from the visiting players for handball. Referee uninterested, and less than 30 seconds of the 3 added on remain now. Notts on their way to another 3 points as another cross comes into the Notts penalty area. Volley from the edge of the 18-yard box from Saunders. Michael Doyle rooted to the spot. It flashed wide from my angle. Couldn't quite tell how far wide, but certainly a good connection. It was a great connection. Saunders. I'm not sure if that just went over the bar, and if that had gone in, that's goal of the season without a shadow of a doubt. Full right foot volley from 18 yards, but I think over the bar into the family stand, and Michael Doyle takes his goal kick, probably the last kick of the game, is it? You would think so. The referee not content just yet, as Ini Effiong picks it up on the left-hand side and slides it down that left touchline for Ruben Rodriguez, who's being told to go to the corner. He hangs on to the ball on that left wing. Still on the ball. The referee has a look at his watch. He puts his whistle in his mouth, and Notts County have picked up a brilliant 3 points at home against Dagenham and Redbridge. It was eventful, it was exciting, it had everything. It had confusion and controversy and a sending off and a man going in goal who has a long and storied career at 39 years old, and yet I don't think he's ever played in goal until tonight. Bar a strike 2 or 3 minutes before the end, would have had a clean sheet as well. Notts County have beaten Dagenham and Redbridge by 3 goals to 1, but still, that's only half the story. Oh, yeah, barely half the story. It was an incredible performance. I think that's one thing to say. I think it's been a fantastic performance by Notts tonight. I think so far this season, although they sort of getting the job done, I would say they've been going along in sort of second and third gear at times, and we know they've got more gears to step up. Tonight, I think if we'd have had fans in here, it was that sort of game. If we'd have had fans here, they'd have been leaving to an absolute standing ovation. It was a fantastic performance. Every single one of them dominated the game when they played for 70 minutes with 10 men, with an outfield player in goal, dominated possession, scored 3 fantastic goals, created numerous other chances. It really was a clinical, ruthless performance. And yes, you can say Dagenham were you know, didn't offer too much of a threat, or, you know, didn't give too much of a challenge, but you're only as good as anybody allows you to be, and Notts didn't allow them. Like I say, Notts all over the pitch, dominated the game. Every player won their individual battle, and Michael Doyle in goal, what can you say? Just disappointed they actually conceded at the end, and you know, it just takes a little bit of a gloss off it. You can't say he's got a clean sheet, but no, absolutely fantastic all the way through the team. Everyone put a shift in, and 3 points is no more than they deserved. And you fancy if it had been 11 against 11, well, who knows what score it might have been.